This is Keys to the Shop, episode 368, Walking the Line Between Leadership and Friendship. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Keys to the Shop, where we give you insights, inspiration, and the tools you need to grow as a coffee service professional. My name is Chris DeFirio, and I'm your host for the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in today, and I would really love it if you would subscribe to the show. Just hit the subscribe button when you have an opportunity. You'll always be updated with new episodes whenever they come out. And also, if you would share these episodes as much as you can with people you know and those you feel could really benefit from the content that would help the show grow, it would be awesome, and we get to spread the love. So thanks, everybody. Now, on top of doing this podcast, Keys to the Shop also offers consulting and coaching for you and your business. And the goal here with Keys to the Shop Consulting is all about helping coffee shop owners like you gain the confidence and clarity you need to run a successful coffee shop. And what my focus is with working with clients is helping you gain control of your daily operations, increase profitability, develop your leadership, and the systems and habits needed to care for and engage your staff and customers. And that really is the key to success for coffee shops by and large. And when you have a coffee shop, it can be very stressful, and it's hard to make things better and grow while you are trying to fight fires. Feels like you're taking one step forward and two steps back. And that's what Keys to the Shop Consulting is all about, helping you work through, find victory over, and give you systems and tools to win in running a great coffee shop, leveling up the experience for yourself, your staff, and your customers. If that sounds interesting to you and you want to learn more about working with Keys to the Shop Consulting, go ahead and email me to set up a free discovery call. Chris@keystotheshop.com is where you can do that. And we'll get on the phone together and talk about how Keys to the Shop Consulting can help you take your coffee shop to the next level. Again, that email for Keys to the Shop Consulting, Chris@keystotheshop.com. Now, one of the great moments in being a barista is when you hand the drink off to the customer and you know, and you have that sense of pride that not only did you create this beverage with all the skill that you've acquired over the years, but you've also used great ingredients to do it. And that should ring true for all beverages, including plant-based beverages that you serve on your bar. And that's why I love the Barista series from Pacific, because they have created this product specifically for baristas that have these high standards, and then tested by and approved by baristas all over the world, so that you know that anything you use from the Barista series line will stand up to the heat from steaming, produce amazing texture, perfect for latte art, and keep the balance of the beverage focused on the coffee. This is all a huge part of what customers are looking for. So go visit them at pacificfoodservice.com to learn more, get samples in your store, and try it for yourself. I think you're truly going to love it. If you're looking to serve your customers the best plant-based drinks, then I think you need to be using the Barista series from Pacific. Now, coffee has come a long way, and the market is kind of saturated, I think, with specialty coffee, more so than ever. That means customers are way more discerning, and they don't need to be quote-unquote coffee geeks to know the difference between a good cup and a great cup. The question is, how do you get your coffee from good to great? Well, part of it is the equipment that you use. It may be holding you back, or it might be really letting your coffee sing. And today, the next step in the evolution of batch brew coffee that helps you do just that, take your coffee to the next level, is the ground control Cyclops brewer from Voga Coffee. This brewer is revolutionizing coffee. It is leveling things up for everyone, because the SCA award-winning technology gives you control over the extraction of an incredible range of flavors in your coffee. The consistency is amazing, and it's not only a game-changing batch brewer, but it also makes tea, batch iced lattes, batch cold brew. This is a workhorse of efficiency. It can bring a lot of productivity to your coffee shop, and it looks good doing it. Check them out over at groundcontrol.coffee to find out more about this incredible piece of equipment. I think if you're looking to level up your quality and bring more productivity and efficiency to your workflow in your cafe, then you should be looking into getting a ground control Cyclops brewer for your cafe. Again, go visit them over at groundcontrol.coffee. endearing.coffee. Okay, everyone. Well, today we're going to be talking about a subject in leadership that I think is pretty relevant to pretty much everybody who occupies a position of leadership, whether you are a trainer, manager, owner, or some kind of subgenre of manager out there, assistant to the assistant manager, that kind of thing. Once you get into this position, one of the first things that happens is a temptation to be very almost apologetic about your authority. And instead of being the manager or the boss that you need to be, and that others need you to be, you end up trying to be everybody's friend. So there's two wrong extremes when it comes to management. There is the command, sort of dictatorial, militaristic style management and leadership through intimidation methods that were really big in the 80s especially, and I think they actually called it management through intimidation. I think that was like what it was coined as. So, I know the 80s brought us a lot of great comedies, but apparently it brought us some great tragedies too. Some strange things from the 80s. So that's not widely promoted today. There might be people promoting it, but not widely. A lot more people are advocating for things like servant leadership and authenticity and humility and vulnerability. Those are the words that you're going to see if you could take the internet of management and make a word cloud out of it. You're going to find those words popping up everywhere, right? But there's another extreme that we can go to, and that is the pacifist, the person who refuses to use what was given to them in good faith, that they would take this mantle of authority and use it for the benefit of people. Instead, they're just afraid to use it, and so they don't do anything with it. And instead, what they try to do is they try to become everybody's friend because it makes them feel good, because it makes them feel like if people are smiling, if people are laughing, if I can just do things that pacify people in the moment, but don't use my position to create lasting solutions or really follow through and address problems. If I just do those things, though, that'll cover up for my procrastination towards my role of management. And nothing could be further from the truth. And I think this is a big problem in coffee, especially when you find people who are new to either the professional world or new to leadership, and it doesn't feel like they're not comfortable with it. They don't embrace their authority. What they do is they try to give it away again by trying to be everybody's friend, because they're afraid of becoming somebody's enemy. That's not always going to happen. You might make some enemies even if you're a great boss, because of your authority and the fact that you can't please everybody. You're going to have some people that are just kind of annoyed at you sometimes, and that for some people is just an untenable position. They can't stand that somebody might have an ill feeling towards them. If that's you, I hope that you'll take this the right way. That might not be the right position for you. Not that you need to be callous or not care, but the idea that you're a successful manager or leader because people like you, or that they're your friends, is dangerous, in my opinion. Because we talk about this a lot on the show about nepotism and bias and favoritism and stuff, and where people prefer the people that they're buddy-buddy with. How is this not going to equally so promote that kind of bias within the coffee community that we're trying to undo? We need to take a professional and objective look at leadership and management and say, it's not about being people's friend. It's about, I have no problem saying, it's about loving people through the work. If you want to do good by people, then you have to embrace your authority. And that can be kind of scary because so much of what we do is all in the name of trying to avoid something that we're deathly afraid of. Now, maybe you were not set up properly by the person who put you in the leadership position. And so out of sheer self-preservation, you're just saying, look, don't hate me. I kind of don't know what I'm doing. Nobody's telling me anything. I can't be the agent of clarity. I can't be the resource for you because nobody's resourcing me. Nobody's giving me any instruction. They just said, hey, you're the manager. Go drink from this fire hose. And if you can hack it, then you'll be successful, I suppose. And I feel for you. And that is a very bad place to be in. So owners out there, just know you're setting people up without resourcing them and giving them the tools to succeed in their jobs. You're setting them up to be driven by fear to manage through pacifying people and making people like them and be their friend, rather than giving them the confidence to know, no, I am a manager. I represent the standards and the values of the company, and I am here to, and it's good news that I'm the manager. Like Bruce Tulgan says in his book, It's Okay to Be the Boss. Hey, good news. I'm the manager. I'm the boss of this area or of this coffee shop or this company. And it's good news because I am using this position for all of our benefit. And I embrace it, and it's a gift. It's not a hot potato to pass to the next person. But we need to be aware that our first instinct is to fear and avoid the awkward interactions. We're going to procrastinate on confronting people because of this. And therefore, the problems in the cafe are perpetual because they're never addressed because we're afraid of confronting people. And guess what happens? If you're afraid of confronting people because you don't want to be unpopular, as if popularity was a sign of a good manager, always, then you're not going to be able to confront anything that you need to change about yourself. I think that there is a direct correlation between how comfortable you are in being self-aware about your strengths and your weaknesses, and how you can also therefore confront other people about it. But if you're always avoiding confrontation, I think, and I've seen this in myself also through my life and others, that you're less likely to be honest about your own shortcomings or even honest about your strengths. So you can't use your strengths because you're not paying attention to what they are. You can't fix the problems because you're not paying attention to what they are. All of this also is true about how you're basically not even wanting to dig into the problems because that means you have to confront people. And what if they don't like me? This is why cultures turn toxic. Nobody is keeping short accounts because we want to be people's friend. And now I hearken back to the book Under the Hood by Stan Slapp. Stan was a guest on the show. I'll provide the link in the show notes for that episode. But one of the central ideas of his book is that you as a leader, once you are given that mantle of authority, you're not part of the culture anymore. You're outside the culture in a sense. And how pathetic does it look to see a manager, like kind of a Steve Buscemi character, going, hello, fellow kids, backwards hat, skateboard in hand, or kind of like sadly pressing your face against the glass of the cafe, looking at the baristas having a good time. And here you are, a manager or an owner, being like, I don't want to be an owner. I want to be a barista. And so you just want to be one of the gang. And that's, I guess, just part of our nature. We just want to be in the in crowd. But when you do that, you sabotage your success because nobody will take you seriously once you do have to use that authority. Authority is like energy. It can't be created or destroyed. It can only be harnessed, and you can't just bury it and expect it to go away. And the fact that we as leaders will continually try to do this is basically like ancient alchemists believing that they could turn elements into different elements. They could turn things into gold. Like I'm going to turn, never mind using my authority for, good and embracing my role as a manager. If I just have, impromptu throwdowns with my staff and give them pizza parties and high five emojis in the Slack channel, then, that's going to turn into gold one day. Well, it doesn't work. It's scientifically impossible to make that the cornerstone of a thriving and healthy culture. That just it's not the right stuff. Because believe it or not, baristas will demonstrate to you that they like you in that sense that, hey, the manager or owner, they can still pour, they can throw down. That's pretty cool. But guess what they really want? A schedule on time, or a stocked coffee bar, or they want you to be a little bit more empathetic and create systems that solve problems. You could go down the list of things that in the back of their mind they're thinking, shouldn't they be managing? Like, if they're just a barista, and that's what, then why are they getting paid more? What is the point of that position if they're not going to use it? Make me the manager. You can develop enough angst in a group of baristas that eventually someone's going to look at a kind of a pathetic specimen of a manager and be like, at this point, warm Jell-O could do a better job than what you're doing, because you've taken your hand off the plow. You've taken the tool that was given to you in this role and said, no, I'm not going to use this. I'd rather make myself feel good than have other people succeed because of me. I mean, ultimately, that's a pretty selfish move. And it's the basis of a ton of dysfunction in our coffee shops. It's the basis of a lot of bias. It's a basis of a lot of non-confrontation and lack of self-awareness. And it just keeps spreading. So the fine line of leadership and friendship, if you want people to respect you, which I imagine is like the redeemable version of what friendship means here, is I want to get a good reaction from people. I want them to be having positive thoughts or energy or emotions towards me. And the closest thing that I can think of that represents that is friendship. And that's where I think we go wrong. I think you could replace the word friendship with respect. And respect is born over time. It is proved through actions. And it is not about popularity. It's about the body of work and decisions that this person has produced over time, even though sometimes I didn't agree, is laudable. It is full of integrity. It is it is a body of work that I respect. That gives you freedom, that not every interaction with your staff has to be imbued with this self-satisfying feedback loop for your ego. So what's the solution here? I think we've touched on a few solutions. One is you need to have a longer-term view of success in the return on your investment. The next is that you need to embrace this role as soon as you get it. If you are on the verge of being put into the role of management, leadership, ownership, then you need to take a long, hard think about this role. 6 Truths About Power is a great episode to listen to. Again, links in the show notes. I highly recommend. Anytime there's an episode, there's always related episodes. These are going to be great for you to follow up with. Embracing your role doesn't just look like a thought you have one morning in the shower. It's a disposition that you nurture over time. You're going to have to learn about yourself. You thought you knew yourself when you were a barista, but you as a manager is a different animal altogether. Trust me, I became a trainer. I became a different person. I became a manager. I became a different person. Who are you at work? Another level up is, who are you in this position? What do people need from you in this position? And so you look at what the job description is. You then look at what people need from you. You look at who you need to be in this role. It is all about embracing that, okay? You can't get away from it. It's like if I want the U.S. Barista Championships to be a latte art competition, there's no amount of latte art that I can do that's going to change what that competition is all about and what it rewards. The system for scoring points in that is based on more than latte art, no matter if I agree or disagree with it. It is what it is. And so if you enter into the management role or trainer role, there are some inbuilt expectations and rules and needs that you need to be informed of. And it's not your job to go in there and say like, that feels like kind of uncomfortable, so I'm just going to pretend that it doesn't exist. No, we have to study that role and learn not just what the tasks are, but what the disposition is. And then it's a journey of self-discovery, and it's a journey of creating trust over time. And you learn how to provide the tools for success and how to love people through the difference between you and them. There isn't a better than or worse than. Just because you're a manager or an owner or a trainer doesn't mean you're better than people. It means you've been given a different responsibility. And you can serve, and you should serve, through the vehicle of that difference between the two of you. You owe it to them to do that. Otherwise, you're kind of betraying a trust. Go back to the idea that baristas will smile. They'll think you're kind of cool in some sense. But ultimately, the frustration of somebody who abdicates their responsibility as a leader will drive people up a wall, over the wall, and out of the cafe. That's the truth. Okay, that happens all the way up and down the organization. If you're a manager and the owner is abdicating their responsibility to help you in any meaningful way, you might put on a brave face for a certain amount of time, but eventually you're just going to leave, burn out, or preemptively leave before you burn out. If you're a barista and your manager's like that, same thing. So here we are, leadership and friendship. I'm sure that you're going to develop some kind of friendship with people over the course of time that you're working together. But it's necessary for you to maintain a distance and to respect the power difference. I have a hard time accepting that you can be an effective leader and manager and just be one of the gang. And that's it. Always going out for drinks, always, just hanging out. No difference except for some days you're bossing people around. Or some days the buck stops with you. So many times I talk to people where that's been their disposition. Nobody respects them as a boss because they know them. Well, didn't we have drinks the other night? Didn't we, XYZ? That kind of thing happens all over the place. So you have to consider, once you get into these positions, that there's going to be a pull, and people might try to pull you in that direction because they used to hang out with you as much as they wanted. But now, in order to be effective at your job, you have to close the door on some of that stuff in order to be effective. You can't really have both, in my opinion. There has to be a respectful distance. That doesn't mean a shutting out. That doesn't mean a lack of empathy or emotion or connection. And honestly, it doesn't even mean a lack of friendship. It's just a different kind of friendship than I think we reflexively think about. That the kind that is built about, gratifying our need for acceptance in a kind of a toxic way, But our first order of business is to say, how can I show care effectively to people now that I have this through the role I have? And that's how you walk that fine line between leadership and friendship. It's a longer return on your investment. There's a little bit of a distance now, but you can find joy and fulfillment in embracing your responsibilities, your role, and your authority. Have head-up confidence with this. Just like you want a barista to be confident behind the counter, head-up service, even if it's really busy, they're just handling it. This is the kind of leadership that we need in the cafes. We don't want people to squander this gift of authority and leadership that they've been given. We want them to have that head-up confidence to serve through that just the way we want baristas to serve a great cappuccino. And that comes with time, it comes with intention, training, and it's a group effort. There's a lot of accountability that's necessary in this, as we talk about on the show all the time. especially if you've developed a culture of feedback where everybody recognizes that we have various roles in the cafe and we need to support each other in those roles. I need, as a manager, to support you in your unique role as a barista to be successful. And I hope that's mutual. For those of you who are baristas, how are you supporting your manager? How are you trying to help them be successful? A coffee shop where this is happening both ways across the organization is the kind of place where you can see true leadership on display, where you can see healthy connections and even friendships, where things are not toxic, but they're professional, they're fulfilling, they're joyful, and that's the kind of coffee shop I want to be in, and that's the kind of leadership we need to embrace going into the future. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I'm curious always about your thoughts. If you have any comments about this or any thoughts of your own about friendship and leadership in the coffee shop, feel free to hit me up on Instagram at Keys to the Shop. If you're not following Keys to the Shop there, that'd be great for you to follow. And then, DM me there and let me know what you think. Maybe we'll do a live stream about this again. We did a brief one last week, but yeah, I'm always happy to talk about these things. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback about other episodes of the show, including this one, just email chris@keystotheshop.com. That's also where you can reach out to inquire about Keys to the Shop consulting and helping you assess your coffee shop, bring your operations to the next level, work through any issues or projects with you. chris@keystotheshop.com. Now, in 10 days, there is an event happening, and guess what that event is? It's Coffee Fest. Coffee Fest is 30 years old, 3 decades of not just a trade show, but a center for resourcing and equipping you and your staff to run a great coffee shop through free or accessibly priced lectures, trainings, workshops, panel discussions. There's an amazing trade show floor with vendors whose products you can interact with. You could talk with the owners of these companies. It's really fantastic. There's the cold brew competition, latte art competition, and then of course there's all these coffee people around and lots of great coffee shops in the cities that Coffee Fest goes to. So you get this communal experience along with an educational and an equipping one. The next Coffee Fest is coming to Seattle, and that is in 10 days. And I'll be there talking and judging and hopefully talking to you. If you are there, please say hello. Go to coffeefest.com to learn more about upcoming shows. If you want to get 50% off your registration for Seattle, go ahead and use the code KEYS when you go and register yourself and your team at coffeefest.com. So yeah, I hope to see you there. Check out 2023 as well. We've got some really great shows coming up. This is a fantastic organization and event to go to. So again, check them out at coffeefest.com. And with that, that is the end of our show today, everyone. Thanks so much again for joining me. Follow us on Instagram at Keys to the Shop. Subscribe to the show. Share these episodes with a friend. Have an awesome day. And as always, I hope that this episode has truly given you keys to the shop.